I think I got enough chairs, did I?
Yeah, I think you did.
Okay, I'll stand if I have to.
I thought there was going to be a table here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Hi, everybody.
Just have a little crowd.
Yay! What a beautiful crowd.
Welcome to Days of the Dead. Welcome, everyone. Thank you, Mary. So happy to have you. I know people are super thrilled. We have 4 microphones, so we're going to play musical microphones, all right?
No problem.
Okay.
Get that one from Brian, okay? Don't let him have it.
No, don't let Brian. None of us will talk.
Okay, I'm going to start off actually by talking to each of you individually about something else that you've done besides nerds, and then we'll turn it loose for the audience. Yeah. Okay, so let's start with you, sir. One of my
Sir? I like that.
one of my favorite shows from childhood is First and 10.
Yes. You really like it?
I love it, and I brought my DVD sleeve for you to sign too. I do.
Well, it's great because O.J. Simpson was on the show.
Right.
Tell him you didn't kill anybody.
Don't want to split the audience here, do you?
Yeah, I'm glad he's dead, so nobody knows him, right? So good. I'll stay alive for a while.
Too soon.
Yeah, he was on the show, and we had some really great. Jason McGay was on the show. Maloney, the guy from
Chris Maloney.
Yeah, they were all on the
Or
show.
Boney Maloney.
What?
No.
See, now here he goes interrupting me again. See, this happens every time. I try to talk and he jumps in front of me. You know, and I got a lot of important things to say, guys. I mean,
I can't hear you.
I can talk about God. I can talk about anything you want to hear. What?
Can't hear microphone.
I have the microphone.
Yeah, but you may want to talk into
You
it.
have the microphone.
You have to turn it on.
No, it's going to talk into it.
It's on.
It's off.
Just turned it off.
Hello.
You know, this is another embarrassment for me. Now you guys know I'm dumb. When I just wasn't acting. That's frightening. This microphone is not great. That's all I'm
Ron,
saying.
do you realize how smart you have to be to act dumb?
It wasn't hard for me. I did it very well. That's why I hired me. They went, that dude's dumber than crap. We're hired him.
So OJ, huh?
OJ, yes, he was on the show. That was a really good time. I mean, except for HBO telling me that they didn't want to be in the series business. That's what I told them. You know, Sopranos, and you know what I mean? I remember sitting next to that Albrecht guy, and we were casting, and I said, why don't they put our show like on the same night? We don't want to be in the series business. They're not. And I'm like, what? What does that have to do with being on the same goddamn night, you know? The show was super popular until he killed people, and then, you know, we lost all the money, so that's all. It was fun making it. We had nudity, we had girls. That's all I cared about. I just got to the set. I didn't worry about my dialogue. I just wanted to see the naked girls. So.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing has changed. In fact, Julia sends me naked pictures. She doesn't even remember.
He always says it's very embarrassing. It's not true.
Okay, it's not true, but I just make it up in my head.
Thank you. First admission that you never made up.
So you are not only an actor or an acting coach. How did that start for you?
It started from when I started doing nerds, and people would always come up and say, "Hey, I could be better than you." And how do I do that? That wasn't so hard, but you did. I could do that. So I said, "Okay, well, let me see you do it." And they'd be like, "Do what?" I'm like, "That's kind of my point."
Where's Leah?
And so then I started coaching because I really just wanted to help folks.
That tells me a lot.
Help folks, you know, because somebody helped me, and it was kind of a give back to help younger folks figure out how they can get back in the system. And it really took off about, I've been doing it since early 2000, but it really took off about 5 years ago. I started working with a lady called Tasha Smith, and I tsawonline.com. What happened was COVID actually inadvertently helped it, because it shut down our brick and mortar, and then we became global because we went online. So now you can go to TSO Online and pick the class you want, and you can now drive to your living room. And
How come I didn't give you more copyright in the class?
no comment.
I just like to know things, you know.
Camera don't care, man.
I know you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
And then I've been fortunate enough to kind of work with a lot of the upcoming rappers and older rappers, Method Man, Cardi B, 2 Chainz, Too Short. I work with a lot of these folks now, and I work behind the scenes with just actors in general. And so I just like helping folks. And I do a little bit of directing and writing and kind of it
Okay,
helps.
next. Oh, sorry.
No, that wasn't mean. That was nice, wasn't it, y'all?
No, don't look at me like that guy's gonna kill me.
Rude.
So I just like to help folks. Just to give back.
Character that you played.
Behave.
Are you still doing that?
Yeah.
And how can people find your class?
T-Saw online, like T-Saw. You guys already know what Saw.
Is
T-Saw.
that what it means?
Online.com. Don't stand.
These are a lot of really famous music people for some of you who don't know.
Don't know yet.
Yeah.
Tochi Smith Actors Workshop Online.com. And been fortunate enough to work in a lot of films. And we can talk about that later on. Living
For
Hills.
sure, for sure.
Where in the bedroom?
No,
I
not in the bedroom.
I don't know. I'm just asking stuff, guys.
Hey.
You're right.
There are no.
That's why they're gonna bring me food, so I shut up.
This would not be the time to watch a movie, Don.
No, no. I was trying to turn my phone on, I turned it off. On. My 12-year-old knows how to do it.
Don is filming a lot of movies right now.
That's right.
He's doing like non-stop filming.
I
after
can't, you
film.
know, I hate to be humble, but you know, I'm working more than any of these guys, and they're embarrassed. They're embarrassed. They get jealous. You know what?
He's patiently waiting his turn.
I know, Robert. Sorry, Robert. Go ahead. It's like Don if you don't shut up. Sorry, Robert.
Okay, sir. So you were very, very creepy in one of my favorite remakes. I saw what you did.
And I know who you are.
Yes. Can you please speak on your experiences of that, working with Shawnee, the whole bit?
Shawnee Smith.
Mm-hmm.
She was lovely.
Isn't she?
I didn't kill her though.
No, but she did have it coming.
She did have it coming.
How was that? How did that come into your life?
Make sure you get
I was friends with the director, Jack
Have a
Sterrett,
good set.
and he asked me if I wanted to do it. I said, yeah, I want to do it. And off we went, and it was a rather spectacular cinematic experience.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a nice flavor.
It was a great movie. Most people don't know it was a remake. Yes, it was.
Yeah,
As you can.
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna nerd out a little bit over here for you, sir.
All right.
Okay, so
Oh, here
anyone
we
who
go.
knows me will tell you one of my favorite shows, genuinely, aside from First and 10,
Stop it.
is Diagnosis Murder.
Oh, dang.
Nerd.
That's kind of weird. That was out of the left field. Yeah. Diagnosis murder of all the things that you. Us actors, we're those kind of people. We're the kind of vagabonds that, we'll pretty much do anything if it makes sense, and
Even if it doesn't.
even if it doesn't, we're actors. And Diagnosis Murder was, for those who don't know, it was an old Dick Van Dyke show that then went to his son, and then there was Scott Baio was in that, and then it
He's
went,
my friend.
and then it went,
Sorry,
and then it went to Charlie Schlatter, I think, right?
Yeah, he's a friend of mine as well.
Oh, I love Charlie. He is so funny.
Charlie is the
Charlie
best.
Slaughter, he's a great guy. Anyway, so I just did a little guest thing on that thing. I mean, yeah. And it was, but just being a journeyman actor like all of us, it's just one of the gigs of many that I kind of ended up doing.
And working with Dick Van Dyke, seeing him.
And yeah,
Oh my God.
well, Dick Van Dyke, yeah, I mean, he's still at 96.
Yeah.
It's amazing, this guy. So I'm just amazed that you even brought that up because I haven't even thought about that since I did it.
Should I say you're welcome or I'm sorry?
No, well, but we're here for nerds, but but that's just fine because it just reminded me of something I did a very long time ago.
All right, so, you were a small part of another cult television show. You played the old version of Jodie Sweetin in Full House.
Oh my God. I don't think this mic is working. Oh my God. Seriously?
How fun was that?
It was really fun because it was a really fun group of actors. And also because one of the other actresses who played one of the other little girls was an old friend of mine when I started doing modeling and television commercials.
Mm-hmm.
So Jane Modine, if you know full, we were sisters together. But I feel the same way, Brian. I'm like, what? Full House? But it was really, really fun with that group. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Curtis, you also did a diagnosis murder, but I'm not gonna go there again. Murder, but
I
I'm
did.
not gonna go there.
I was actually really looking forward to talking about that. It was what?
I think it was Charlie's first or second episode.
It may well have been, but I only had eyes for Dick.
Oh, you'll be taken a lot away. Wait a minute.
Going with the theme of the episode.
You don't remember the episode? Oh, jeez. Okay, 'cause I
It was
know.
about trans.
Oh, all I remember was I was at a computer. I was at a computer. That's all I remember. And right, Charlie. Yeah, Charlie was in it. But Dick Van Dyke, when I was a kid, I used to religiously watch the Dick Van Dyke Show, and it was just really awesome to also. Oh, hey, how about this? Listen, Don, you'll like this. It has nothing to do with you, though.
If I like it, then I don't listen to it.
Yeah.
Not about me.
So the real reason that I loved meeting Dick Van Dyke was because I'm a lifelong Laurel and Hardy fan, and I knew that Dick was a close friend of Stan Laurel's and had actually delivered the eulogy at Stan Laurel's funeral. And the idea of meeting somebody who'd actually been friends with Stan Laurel was huge for me. And at one point in the course of the day or whatever it was that I was there, I brought it up to him, and he lit up and just started telling me story after story about Stan Laurel and the relationship that he had with him. And I mean, it was one of those things where we would be talking and they would have to, call us away to film a show. And but he was telling stories about it. It was just really amazing. And on my last day, I brought in the official biography of Laurel and Hardy, which I own, and which he wrote the introduction to.
Oh, wow.
And I brought it in, and he took it and he looked at it, and he said, and he started looking at his introduction and said, "Oh my God, this is so badly written." And then he wound up, I asked him if he would sign it, and he signed, "To Curtis, keep them laughing, Dick." And I have treasured that ever since.
You nerded out hard with Dick Van Dyke.
I totally nerded out.
Yeah.
Totally nerded out.
He did the same thing when he met me, so.
Yes, it was about 12 and 10.
Right? Right. Do admit it to them. We'll both be shot.
Yeah, what?
No, nothing.
Nothing. It was a big thing. It was really doing. I remember my agent calling me and said, "Okay, we got a call from Diagnosis Murder. I don't know if you want," and I said, "Stop right there." Yes, the answer is yes.
And there we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Andrew.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, Andrew.
How are you?
Okay, are you afraid yet?
I'm
Terrified.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
What is she gonna come up with?
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
You were on a very, very short-lived show, co-starring Matt LeBlanc,
Yes.
Stacey Dash,
Yes.
Alex Dishar,
That's right. TV 101.
TV 101.
Yeah.
You share that?
Yeah, it was. That was a huge. It was a lot of buzz around it. It was like CBS had. They really believed in this show, and they were putting everything they had behind it. They really all the enthusiasm, and we premiered and nothing.
Really?
Just dead.
One
But
season.
it was. We were. I guess it was like a high school show, high school journalism show. It was a high school drama, and we were up against Saved by the Bell and Beverly Hills 90210. Both those shows
Yeah.
were nascent at the time, and they were just much more suited for the audience. So we were a little too heady and not drawing in the kids. So, but that was
Still
it was
a
an
fun
interesting
show.
job. Yeah, it was.
That's why I
moved out
watched
to LA
Forty One
to
Jump
do
Street.
that, and lived in LA for a year, and that was a weird experience because I couldn't drive. I was 15.
Wow.
So if you can't drive in LA,
Yeah, you're screwed.
you're screwed. Yeah, you're totally screwed. So that was sort of like soured me on LA a little bit. And I was like, oh, I hate it out here. It's not fun, whatever, blah blah. But years later, I went out there and realized, oh, this is, if you can drive, it's an amazing thing. But the job was crazy. Matt LeBlanc was pretty crazy. He was hard to handle. Not for me,
Oh,
but for
can
the
you give us details?
for the producers.
The producers.
This is
I'm
the
sorry.
good stuff.
Yeah. But we had a softball game versus like the cast of China Beach at one time.
I like that
And
show.
he got into a fist fight with somebody, and like there was blood involved, and so it was a little nasty. Yeah, it was a little crazy. It wasn't one of the China Beach people though. Somebody from another team had come up. Oh, can you guys shift a little bit? And he was like, no, we're playing our game. Blah, blah. And then it just like escalated. He rolled in one morning to the shoot with a new motorcycle, and the producer's like, you can't have that. You can't drive that. And he's like, yeah, I just bought this. He's like, no, this is insurance. You can't do it. He's like, nope, I'm doing it. So that just made them all apoplectic. And the first time I got drunk was with Matt LeBlanc. They invited me over, and I was a little too young to set, but they were like, we're getting you drunk. They got me lit and sent me back home, and they were all laughing at me. But Matt, the coup de grace was Matt one time was like, oh yeah, I'll take you home on my motorcycle. So I'm on the back of the motorcycle, going down the freeway, and we weren't
Was he
doing anything
drinking
crazy.
too?
No, he wasn't drinking. He was fine, and he was driving like a totally responsible person. But it's the first time I'm on the back of a motorcycle, and I'm just like, I'm gonna die. This is it. I'm holding on for dear life.
And
I'm
you're
like,
drunk.
I'm absolutely gonna die. We made it home, but that's the most memorable thing I remember from that experience.
I need to ask a question.
Yes.
What's it feel like to be on a motorcycle?
I want to say something to everybody here. By the way, we're all really dear friends. All the nerds here, we're all actually, we love each other.
Yeah, I know they.
And what's really cool, and you too, Don. You too, Don.
They put up, no, it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, but you know what?
They
We
put up-
love you, Don.
I know you guys love me.
I love you
know it,
so
I know it.
much.
They
Anyway,
make
I
me
want to
feel
say
fine.
that this is kind of an interesting thing because these are some of the stories we've known each other for a long time,
Long time.
and some of these stories we've not even heard,
Yeah.
about each other. So this is kind of an interesting thing.
I ask
we're
the
kind of
weird
learning.
questions.
Yeah.
You do. Yeah.
And you all might not care about diagnosis murder or first and 10, but the best
Full
stories.
House.
Everyone's talking about Full House, but the best stories come out of it. So thank you guys for sharing. Let's turn it out to the audience. Who has questions? I know you do. You.
Don't be shy. Stand up.
Have any ad libs that made it into the films, of the Nerds films?
We love you when you're mad.
That was a good one.
Anyone else?
I was told to stay with the script. Hey, moron, stay with the
Just for the
script.
script, John.
I just love the fact that we had the opportunity to come up with a lot of our own stuff. For example, Curtis Armstrong and I, Booger and Takashi, the 90% of the stuff that you see between us was never written in the script. It was just Curtis and I just working out different scenarios and them shooting it, and it, landed in the film. So,
Well, it started when we were doing the scene in the gym when the nerds have gotten thrown out of their house, and they're all sleeping on the cots in the gym, and the two of us arbitrarily wound up at adjoining bunks, and so we're sitting there, and Jeff Canoe, who was on his way to shoot Bobby and
the director, Jeff Canoe.
Jeff Canoe,
Yeah.
sorry. He was going to shoot Bobby and Tony in the shower.
Sorry.
And, and because that's more important. And so he was going to do that, and he was walking by where the two of us are just sitting there, and he walks by and goes, I have to shoot Bobby and Tony in the shower. come up with something, and kept walking. And there were a couple things around that the set designer had put, like a deck of cards. And we just started improvising with this thing. And he then comes back from having shot Bobby and Tony, and he says, "What do you got?" And we do this little routine for him. And he goes, "Camera's here." And then it became like a thing. And it was like, you know, if he had time, he'd say, "Come up with something, you guys." And all of the stuff, the painting, or, you know.
Wonder Joys.
Wonder Joys.
Wonder
Wonder
Joys.
Joys. And then there was the other one in the Nerd House where we're playing.
It was nonstop, pretty much wherever we were.
Yeah.
You know, we all contributed. Everybody.
Yeah, I think one of the wonderful things that Jeff did was he created an environment where we could be creative and come up with stuff, because the script as it was written is generally not what the end result is. For instance, I think I had like 4 lines in the original script. If you see the film, it was a whole lot different than that. And everybody had different ways to get into this whole situation. For instance, Don, your time to talk.
Oh, I can talk now?
You can talk now. How did you get the role?
I was actually called by the stunt coordinator. He said they're looking for an ogre, you know, the character. And I said, "Oh, I'll go down there and read for it." So I went down there and read for it, and they called me. And then he called me and said, "They think you're too old, but they really want you." And I said, "Okay, what do I have to do?" So I shaved my beard. Of course, back in those days, you know, I had tissue all over my face, and I got it everywhere. It's shooting everywhere. And then they called me and they hired me, but when I got down there, they thought I was a stuntman. So you talk about, you had 4 lines? I think I had 1. Like burp or something, I don't know. Burp. And then once I started doing it, I was, you know, a brilliant thespian, and they added me. They actually wanted to take everybody else's dialogue and just let me do the movie. Is that true? Or you guys heard that too, or no?
That story got by me.
Did it? You guys didn't hear that? No. Okay. Maybe I made that up. I don't know.
Yeah.
What did you say yeah for?
I don't know.
Pissing me off a little.
I'm trying to be positive.
See, these guys really start pissing me off. Sweet.
Yeah, no, I know.
They probably think I'm serious.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Tell the story. Tell yourself. Go ahead. Tell more stories.
Curtis, your story about how you got the role.
You guys are boring, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
What?
You want to hear the story, Don?
Yes, I want to hear the story.
Okay.
I love your stories. These people are probably bored and go to sleep, but I love your stories.
Jeez. So, okay. Well, what happened with me was I had done Risky Business, and
There you go.
Don, you're just going to have to stop. Or don't make me come over there. Let me just say that.
Oh, you're witnessing something here.
Beat me up one time and he tells everybody. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? A little embarrassing.
Don, that's 2.
Sorry.
That's 2, buddy.
I'll shut up.
Okay. So I'd done Risky Business. So I went in to read for Tony Edwards' part. And because they hadn't cast him yet, but they cast Bobby. And I knew who Bobby was, so I thought that was kind of cool. And then I went in and read, and then they said no, they went with Tony Edwards, whoever that was. And so then the agent called back, excuse me, and said,
Need my help?
this is the best part, Don, you'll like this. I'll make it
I thought
fast.
you were good.
So they called back and said, you know, they really loved your audition. They really loved everybody's audition, apparently. And they said, but they wanted to offer you one of the other nerds. And I'm going, oh, that's, and then I'm thinking, no, wait, that's Lamar? No.
No.
Wormser? No. From Takashi? No. And I'm starting to look through this script going, who the fuck are they talking about? And then I thought, oh, it's probably Poindexter. It's gotta be Poindexter. And I realized it was either Poindexter or Hoover. And I called my agent back. I said, look, you can call them back. And if they offer me Poindexter, I will be happy to do the film. But I am a classically trained actor. I am a stage actor. and I will not pick my nose and belch for the amusement of the many-headed. So if they offer booger, no. The answer is no. And the agent said, okay, I'll call back. And so then the agent called back a little while later and said, okay, well, they offered you booger. I went, okay.
True story. True story.
That's accurate. I won't do that yet. I like that story. I do.
Thank God.
Probably heard it like 800 times by now.
You asked.
I have heard that story.
How
Why do
many
you want to
times?
hear it again?
It's got a cheat.
And Bobby, how did you get the role?
Oh God, here we go.
I was kind of a long-haired motorcycle rider, living in Laurel Canyon and playing my guitar. And
Hippie, you're a hippie.
I was a hippie, yeah. And this film came along. I didn't even want to go in on it because it had the word nerd in the title. I'm thinking, I don't want to have anything to do with a film that's called Nerds. And they said, my agent said, well, listen, just go meet them, all right? I mean, it's a studio picture, go meet them. So I went in to meet them, I had hair down to here, and I had not a good attitude, and me and the director did not see eye to eye. And I left, and I thought, okay, great, that's it, it's over. I got a call back from my agent about a week later. He said, they want you to come in and read. Really? Yeah, it's a studio film, go in and read. So I'm thinking, okay, I've been challenged. I'm gonna show them. So I cut off my hair like it is in the movie, regular boy's haircut. And I bought the glasses from this optometrist who insisted on me not getting cheap frames in front of my eyes. You only have one set of eyes. I go, well, you don't understand, I'm playing a nerd. He said, oh, a nerd. Oh, okay, here, I got what you want. I pulled out the glasses that I wore in the movie. So I put on the glasses, I had the haircut, I got kind of a nerdy shirt going, and I'm waiting in the outer office to meet the director and the other people. And they come out and they look kind of right at me, and then they look the other way, and then they go back in. I think, oh, that's weird. And then about 10 minutes later, they do it again. They come out, they look right at me, they look the other way, and they go back in. I'm thinking, man, what's going on here? They come out a third time, I say, hey, are you guys gonna see me or not? I'm supposed to be seen at 2 o'clock. And the lady who came out to get me was like, oh my God, Bobby? And I said, yeah. And I said, come on in. And that's how I got it.
So I grew up watching Nerds 2 a lot, and it's become one of my favorite films, and I always wondered, why was Betty not in Nerds 2? I've read some stuff, but I want to know.
There is an answer.
Okay.
There is a good answer to this.
So for one thing,
All right, A, it was not.
I'm sorry.
Jesus, he's so rude.
I'm so sorry.
It wasn't written by the same writers. That's not why I didn't do it. But I'm reading through the census script. They're like, we'd love you to come down to Florida, where these guys are already partying. And I would have loved to go. I was shooting something else, but I started reading the script, and I get to page 6, and Betty is in bed with a jock.
Oh.
And I thought, what the fuck? I mean, did they not see the first movie? I mean, I can and I will, but anyone can cut me off. I mean, I will go on, but like I was so insulted that they would have me doing that on page 6. And a good point that Curtis made the other day was, you know, had there been like, had we had a huge fight, had there been like other scenes in the movie where you kind of understood what the fuck Betty was going through, having this crisis dilemma of personality, then maybe it would have been more interesting. But they literally had me sleeping with a jock on page 6, and I'm like, no. And then the director's like, no, we really want you to do it, and you'll come down and we'll rewrite the script. And Curtis and I were talking, and he's like, they're not doing what they're not giving us the play in the script like they did on Nerds 1. So I'm like, I'm not doing it. That's it. Now, you might remember that Robert Carradine was also screwing around.
Oops.
Look, you know, this is the way it goes. Guys, this is the way it goes.
I think I'll end there.
Anyone else have questions?
Yes.
One of my favorite scenes is when the nerds show up at Land competition for membership. What was it like working with Bert Casey? I'm a huge fan of his.
I wasn't in that.
I wasn't in that.
That's a Bobby
I don't remember.
Oh no, Bernie
Bobby
was,
coming down.
was fantastic. And, you know, he was a physically large guy, so you're talking to him and you're looking up.
Yeah.
And he was just great with us. Rest in peace, Bernie. Yeah, he was great.
Super, super sweet.
Yeah.
Super, super.
Can I hit that for a second? Bernie, what I remember is him watching me during the party scene with the balloon in my mouth and going, this is the only thing they're going to remember you for. He said, you're such a good actor, but this is all they're going to remember.
Oh, God.
He was a good guy.
I've never heard that either. I never heard that
I
either. That's funny.
You know, while we're talking about the dearly departed, I way to bring me
On a
down.
lighter note.
I am a diehard fan of John Panette, who you had in 3 and 4. What was it like working with him?
Well, he was great. John Panette was a very funny guy, obviously. But I mean, he was also great with us. He blended right in. He didn't have any attitude, no holier than thou thing going on. He just was right there with us. Unlike very sober.
You know, just for you who don't know, John Panette was that heavy set, 400-pound character actor who was incredibly funny.
And
I
he
was
got to sing,
next.
because he sang too.
Yeah, I was next to him in the honey wagon. In case you guys don't know, sometimes they put the actors that house them in an outdoor truck called a honey wagon. It's basically different rooms. You have separate dressing rooms. And John is, in case you guys don't know, there's some people who are only funny on camera. John had me on the floor all the time. He's a comedian. He's just funny. He's just funny. What did he say? You were telling me? He just said what?
He used to do this thing to me every day. He'd go, he goes, oh, Mr. Panette. He would talk about a Chinese restaurant. Oh, Mr. Panette, you order again. All good. Get the awesome can. I used to dial out and
I understood that.
I knew this was coming because I made a comment about Pearl Harbor.
Call with the setup.
I knew that was coming because I said something about Pearl Harbor at the table. He's not forgiving me for that.
I was gonna say, what was your favorite scene that you filmed on any of the movies?
That's probably a different answer for everybody.
Yeah, it's very.
That's for everybody.
Yeah. Is that our food?
I really like the
No,
scene.
I'll wait.
I really
Just
like the
come.
scene where Anthony Edwards and I are walking on the campus and we see
That was awesome.
we see Betty and her girlfriends sitting on the steps of their sorority house, and we have this little scene together. And I ask her if she wants to go out for a cup of coffee sometime. And the other girl just kind of goes, oh. That was my favorite scene.
Yours, Don?
What? My favorite scene?
Yeah.
Anything that I was in. I don't like working with these guys. You know, I'd rather done it myself, but they wouldn't let me. So I love them all. I'm just joking. They're my favorite people in the world, actually.
And I'll tell you something that's not really doesn't answer that question, but kind of does. It's kind of good for you guys to know. Is this guy here, him and Tony, really set the tone for the movie? Now you guys kind of have to remember, this is Tucson, Arizona, 1983.
Four.
No, it came out in 4.
Oh, did we make it in '83?
We made it in 83.
I was on drugs then. I was either drunk or.
I think that's that way till the 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much we've been 20. What are we now? 2024? Still on drugs, so it's good.
In what he did, and we all take this for granted right now. You guys maybe don't take it, just don't know. Is if you don't, there's a couple ways to play comedy. What was ingenious about what he did was they took it seriously. And I remember coming down, and I don't know if I think it was with Tim Busfield, and we watched him and Tony play with a fucking model airplane out in the thing, dressed as nerds, just like in the movie. And we looked at them and went, they're serious. They're serious. But what that did was that set the tone so that we didn't, even though it can be campy, we didn't play, it was real to us, which I think some kind of how rolled over to the movie, and it gave it a nice quality because everybody was just themselves, and he just accepted us as we were.
Well, the script was written in a way that you could easily do these characters as caricatures, and
You did.
I made a really conscious effort to keep this guy totally normal. He has no idea he's a nerd. And I mean, that's why in the beginning of the movie, when Anthony Edwards and I are carrying that big footlocker across the campus, and he yells, "Nerds!" and we're looking around like, who are you? Talking about us. No way.
You know what's kind of interesting is that, I mean, we're actors as well. And Bobby was right. We took the characters seriously. But what's interesting is the characters we played, a lot of us are antithetic to the characters we did play. Bobby, as you said, he cut his hair. He was a motorcycle race car driver. I mean, Curtis Armstrong, Booger, he's a classically trained actor.
Did I mention that?
I mean,
You always do. You always do, brother. And I just come from porn film, so that was it.
Oh my God.
That's why you did the really good.
but we took the character
Poor
seriously, as Bobby
Julius. Like,
said.
oh my God.
You're my favorite scene in Chefs.
Well, you know, I had so many favorite scenes. It's hard to say which is the best because we got along. There's one thing interesting is studios, especially now, they don't spend the extra money to bring actors over so that they can rehearse and bond before principal photography. 20th Century Fox brought the principal cast, the main nerds, into Tucson, Arizona, 3 weeks before principal photography so that we can rehearse and kind of get to know each other and kind of commiserate and create a bond. And that really was such a unique experience because we immediately, all of us hit it off. I mean, we all really did.
Yeah, there was another thing that was interesting was that they, and I don't think this was by mistake, and Bobby can probably speak to this, is they left us alone. And I think that was because they thought this was gonna be bad. So, they was like, they'd be out there, whatever. And that allowed us, like he said, to bond with each other, but more importantly, we got to take it seriously, and we just started to try to make each other laugh. And we didn't care about anybody else. And I remember seeing the dailies, and I think that was when, I know because we got the dailies, in case you guys don't know, is the day's shoot, or actually the previous day's shoot. They'll show you the clips from what we shot. So you don't get to see it strung together, you just get to see the scenes you shot the day before. And that was when we realized, I think, that we had something we didn't know they did. And of course, there's a whole other story about what happened when it got released. What did they think about the movie, the studio box?
Oh yeah, so we're finally going to get to see a rough cut of the film, and it was nearly finished. It had temporary music in it, didn't have the final music, and we're watching the movie, and you know, it wasn't the movie that you all know. It had some rough spots in it, but the guy who's in charge of distributing the movie, the lights come up, and I overheard him say, "Piece of shit." I'm thinking, oh man, this is a bad sign.
That's a bad sign.
Yeah.
But then the movie came out, and I think they released it in 600 or 700 theaters instead of 1,000 or 2,000. And the Monday after that opening weekend, other studios are calling the head of distribution for Fox, saying, "Didn't you guys know what you had? Why didn't you release it wide? What is the matter with you?" And that guy got fired. Yes.
Yeah.
So, do I get paid for this if I go eat, if I stay long enough to get paid?
Yes.
Because I need to go eat. I got food out there.
Any
Yeah.
other questions?
Go get your food.
And bring
Yeah,
mine,
what you got?
Huh?
John, bring mine too.
All right.
John Gibb.
Thank you.
Come
Come back, get paid.
He'll be back.
Do you think they're going to make a remake better than the original?
Better? The question was, does he think they'll make a remake better than the original?
No. No.
Guys, it's really hard to go back and do what you saw better today than it was then. It's kind of like going back. You have memories of yesteryear, and if you try to go back to that spot, it's not the same spot. It's like going to the river the next day. You go to the same spot, but you can't go back to the same spot in the water. So there was so many different variables that had to be in place to make that particular movie happen and be accepted by America.
This on your lap?
No. I do not think so, Comrade.
I got you, brother.
But I think another really good question is, and Brian, I don't know, how did you get the role?
They were looking for an Asian actor. I don't know how they could have ever found me. No, but there was a TV series called After MASH. It was a sequel to MASH, and it was Corporal Klinger, and he was married to this Asian woman, and I happened to know her. I had a TV series beforehand on 20th Century Fox. She played my sister with Yul Brenner, matter of fact, called the Anna King. Anyway, her name is Rosalind Chow. She was, but she played Corporal Klinger's wife in the After MASH series, and they shot it on 20th Century Fox. And the casting people said, "Do you know any Asian actors?" So she says, "Yeah." I just happened to be one of the names she provided them, and so they called me in for an audition, and I tried to look as Asian as possible. And lo and behold, I studied up on my Asian accent, which is sounding more Yiddish as I get older. Hello. Anyway, for some reason they hired me. So I'm very grateful because I got to make lifelong friends here.
I know, true.
The movie's perfect, but was there any scenes that you remember shooting that didn't make it in the film that you were kind of disappointed in? I don't know how that could be possible, but
Where I was naked.
was it?
Yeah, the
The Vegas thing, yeah. There was a whole sequence in the movie where Bobby and Tony go to Las Vegas, where Tony's uncle owns a casino. All right, first off, why? Now, I don't remember what the justification for it was, but they show, and we were in Vegas, and shot it in Vegas. And all of the nerds.
And don't forget, they all had us dressed in what?
Dashiki. We were all, and I don't remember why that.
And it was Michael Lerner, Academy Award winner Michael Lerner.
Michael Lerner was playing the uncle, and he turns out, we show up, and he turns out to be just bone racist, and saying, and he sees Larry B. And
Lamar.
He's Lamar. Yeah, I mean, it didn't help that, not only was he black, he was gay. And this guy hated everybody who was black and gay. And he just said these horrible things. It's not remotely funny. And it's so out of place and inappropriate in this movie. And then I think Tony winds up taking him apart. For abusing his friend, and why we were all in dashikis, I don't remember. But that was a whole sequence in the movie that they transferred everybody to Vegas to shoot, and just disappeared. And if you get believe me, it's not worth seeing. But the Blu-ray, I think, the original Blu-ray video.
Does it have it?
Had it as a
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
You could get it.
What about any interactions between you and Brian that you were like, I can't believe I didn't make it in?
No.
Nothing like that. So everything.
They're too good.
I
They're
tell you
too
what was
good.
interesting.
We were pretty lucky because a lot of the stuff we came up, they just kind of trusted us to do stuff, and they kept a lot of that in. We were very fortunate.
Yeah, another interesting thing is what ended up as the rap. Tell them how that started out for each of you. Because we all, the clap hands, everybody, that was the end result, but that wasn't how it was all done. Weren't we all set to do different things, like Curtis with you playing, and Bobby and Tony, you guys were different?
Well, what they did with me was they told me ahead of time, they said, you're going to do Elvis Presley at the show, and you're going to be singing American Beautiful or something. It was some, one of the, from Elvis's Las Vegas period, and they had me in the white jumpsuits and the whole deal. And so the night that we were going, I'd had it, the first VHS player I'd ever seen, they gave me for my room with a copy of a tape of Elvis Presley singing this song, so I would know how to do it. And I had no idea why we were doing it, but that was my job. So I learned painfully how to sing this song. And we get to shoot, and it's an all-night shot, an all-night shoot. And they decided to go ahead and shoot the Nerd Rap, which Larry had written, by the way. And they said we'll have the Nerd Rap and then shoot your solo as Elvis after. Well, we get to the end of the Nerd Rap, and the director and producers come up and they're looking kind of downtrodden. And it's about 5 in the morning. And they said, listen, we understand you've really been working on the Elvis Presley thing, and we appreciate it, but it's probably not going to be in the movie. So we're happy to shoot it for you if you'd like. No, that's fine. I'll go home. And so it was a scene that didn't make it in, wasn't in deep shot, and I was never happier.
Okay, I have to be devil's advocate. I already asked her this, but for Julia, how do you feel about what they're saying today in this whole culture about, the moon scene?
What movie scene? Let's see. Well, do we have to live in today and have to answer that question? Like, if we were back then, this is my explanation. Bobby, I hope you're listening.
We are.
So as you're watching, as the movie starts to unfold, and you see Lewis approach Betty numerous times, and her just basically flat out, no, turn away, blah blah blah. They don't really show you any of the inner flickerings.
Is that a word?
What's inner flickerings.
Inner thoughts?
That sounds sexy. Anyway, I can't really explain away that probably somehow they should have added a few more scenes and then it wouldn't have been that type of surprise. I really can't explain that away. But I can say that I think my character he was breaking down the wall of ice slowly. And you never really saw it because it wasn't written and they weren't really they were kind of looking for that surprise moment. Not knowing that years later, and even more recently, further away than that it would be not a great thing. But my thing is that Lewis was breaking down Betty, and Betty was not getting great attention from Stan, let's admit it. So I think that what happened was, what?
I mean, he just told her she was funny like a goat.
Yeah, shouldn't he have been lucky, or, But, so my thing is that Betty was the inner workings of Betty. There was a crack in this whole jock, sorority bitch thing that we had going on. And that, Betty was like, I don't know, this other guy, he doesn't really look right for me. He doesn't, he doesn't fit the picture and the image of what I should be going for. I'm sorority president, blah, blah, blah. But even a millisecond before, the kissing booth scene, for instance, I despise him. Well, what's the other side of despise? Pure passion for the guy. Pure passion. I think there was a part of Betty that was excited by him and his realness and his genuineness. And I don't think it was just about his great skills in bed, although that didn't hurt.
Okay, we have time for one more audience question. Let's go into the backpack.
How much beer was actually being consumed on the set?
Was that how much beer was
How
consumed?
much beer was drank on the set?
How much beer was consumed on the set?
On the set or off the set?
Why not both?
A lot.
Well,
There are a couple.
yes.
Robert Carradine in the scene. I've never seen anybody have Cheerios in beers for breakfast. Robert Carradine poured himself Cheerios with beer, not milk, and we filmed that. And Takashi won a tricycle race drinking beer. Well, there's no such thing as trichloromethylene, which counters the effect of alcohol in the system. So every time when the lead actors came to the set for that particular thing, the prop guy goes, "Oh, you have a choice. For when Takashi wins the tricycle race, you have to take a beer every time he goes around the track." Well, the prop guy goes, "You have a choice. We can take a soda and dress it to look like a beer, or you can have a cold beer if you want." "It's a hot day." I said, "Wait, you're crazy? Of course I want a cold beer." Anyway, I forgot how many times you shoot when you're filming, sucking those down. So, to answer your question, there was the real beer being drunk when Takashi went around the tricycle.
And they shot that like 20 times.
But just barely.
Just barely.
All right, everyone, please do give it up for our nerds.
You guys are the best. Thank you so much for the best. Thank you. Yay, thank you. Now you want to come up, take a photo with us? No, we're gonna come. Nope. Oh, sorry. Oh, I thought you wanted to.
All the way down?
Do it. Come on.
No, do it tomorrow. Come tomorrow, guys. I'll be doing that rap tomorrow. Okay, good. At the party. And I'll be seeing who can do it with me.
Yeah.
There'll be prizes for those who know.
I'm gonna do your moonwalk.
Looking at my shorts.
Come on in here. Come on.
I'll be over here.
Can you get them all? Might have to go back.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to go back because I'm big. You know?
You might go back and stand on a chair.
All right, the one with the pink phone. Right.
Sorry. Where?
She's right here with pink pants. All the pink pants.
Hi, you
I like the.
Hi, you Ed.
Hello there.
Yay. You guys are the best. Thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's right. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, man. I would have won that. I'll see you tomorrow, right away. Way too much. I was the worst one. Well, it was like real beer, so I was starting to lose. I couldn't remember the dialogue.
I know.
I'm like, what?
I'll see you guys later.
Okay.